Kimes, dog lover herself, the NFL analyst, senior writer, podcast host, TV contributor. Mina Kimes Show with Lenny, a weekly podcast about football and more. And Mina joins us now. Good morning, Mina.
Hey, good morning.
I got a question to start out with, and it has something to do with the end result of this season. That is, I'm going to give you all the quarterbacks who are 33 and older, or all the quarterbacks who are younger than 33. Russell Wilson turns 33 this year, so he's in the older category. You can have all the quarterbacks. Who wins the Super Bowl? The younger quarterbacks this year or the older ones?
I'm going to go younger. As long as Patrick Mahomes is in the league, I got to go younger.
What did you take away from the schedule as far as who the networks? Is there a team where they're looking at somebody that maybe would be a surprise team this year based on what the schedule showed?
Well, I would say actually this is not what you asked, but I thought it was interesting that the Packers got 5 primetime games. Yeah. I don't know if the network knows anything we don't know, about whether or not, because gosh, without Aaron Rodgers, that would be quite a load for Jordan Love to be on primetime that much. But no, I was surprised actually not to see more Browns Chargers in prominent spots, because those are two kind of young, exciting AFC contenders. And yeah, clearly the networks didn't agree. We saw some Ravens though.
What about the Bears? And at what point is Justin Fields going to be the starting quarterback?
I've been saying loudly, maybe a little too loudly on our network, I would start him week 1, but they are playing the Rams, obviously, in that Sunday night opener, and that is a challenging defense to throw him to at start. That Bears offensive line against Aaron Donald is not a pretty formula. I could see them waiting 3 or 4 weeks, but, with Matt Nagy's job on the line and that offensive line and Andy Dalton in place, I don't see it lasting long.
How much of an improvement is the quarterbacking position for the Rams?
It's pretty significant. The downfield element that Stafford brings to the game has been so lacking with Jared Goff. And, it all sort of came to a head at the end of the season when it really became clear that Sean McVay would rather start his backup from the AAF, John Wolford, who I love, his preseason games I called. But it was curiosity, right, that Jared Goff wasn't playing even though his injury was dubious. But I think that was something that was brewing all year, frustration with Goff's ability to create outside of the pocket, his lack of accuracy, throwing the ball downfield, his propensity to turn it over the middle. And I think Matthew Stafford is a massive step up for them.
But do you have the Chargers and Rams both as contenders?
I do. I feel like every year the NFL media is too high on the Chargers, and every year we get slapped down. And I know Justin Herbert is like a prime regression candidate, being that sort of hot rookie season that came out of nowhere, but he was playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in football. Our pass block win rate metric has them as the second worst in the NFL, worse than the Bengals, who we talk about like Joe Burrow was playing behind wet paper towels. And they upgraded incredibly along the line, like clearly poured a ton of resources there, adding Corey Linsley, best center available, Rashawn Slater. Justin Herbert was fantastic last year under pressure. Imagine how good he'll be with some time in the pocket and, knock on wood, Derwin James coming back. So I'm very high on the Chargers.
Are the Cardinals a hot team? There's always like 3 or 4 teams that go, from sort of nowhere up to the top, make the playoffs, or they go from last to first. Where do you stand on Cardinals?
I'm not as high on the Cardinals as others, particularly because they play in the post-apocalyptic hellscape that is the NFC West. But also, there's still massive issues with this team in the secondary. I think that they didn't add enough playmakers to take some of the heat off of DeAndre Hopkins, with all due respect to A.J. Green, who I think is in the over 33 crowd or plays like it at this point. I think rather than calling them the hot team, I would say Cliff Kingsbury should be on the hot seat, because he came into this league as a sort of questionable hire. The Cardinals' offense went from the worst in the NFL to average, and I think he really benefited from that comparison. But last year, they regressed. Kyler Murray didn't take a leap forward as a passer. It really brought a lot to the game with his legs. And in my mind, if Kyler doesn't take another step forward in his development this year, I would be really, if I was a Cardinals fan, I would direct my ire towards Cliff Kingsbury.
We're talking to Mina Kimes. You can watch her with Dan Orlovsky, Marcus Spears, Laura Rutledge on NFL Live every weekday at 4 Eastern on the Mothership. When Russell Wilson came on our show, and then the fallout after that subsequently, did Seattle address what they needed to address, or did he hear what he needed to hear?
That's right. It's you that I have to personally blame for 3 weeks of debate, hell, being put, especially, Mina, how do you feel about losing your quarterback?
I provided content for the media for a month, Mina, and no one thanked me.
Okay, you know what? Thank you.
Thank you, Mina.
It wasn't like a moment in the year when we really needed it. Like right now, Aaron Rodgers is basically single-handedly saving the sports media industry, and we should all be singing hosannas in his name. And, he is carrying us because, I'm on an NFL show, Dan, every day, 1 hour a day. June is the desert, and Aaron Rodgers is pouring this water into our mouths. He is an oasis for us, and you did do that with Russell, and I suppose I do owe you some thanks for that, even though personally it caused me great emotional distress. But candidly, I never thought he was leaving, and I also think that he seems to be pretty satisfied with what Seattle's done, going out trading for Gabe Jackson from the Raiders to shore up the interior of the offensive line, signing Gerald Everett, tight end, from the Rams. I thought he was previously with the Rams. I thought that was a sneaky good signing. And then drafting a wide receiver, a real speedster, Dwayne Eskridge, with their first pick in the draft. All really smart picks. But for Wilson, when you look at the struggles at the second half of last season, it wasn't because of the lack of protection. It was really schematic, and some of it, frankly, had to do with Wilson himself. So that's what I'll be watching for with Seattle early on, to see if new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron has cured those ills.
Did the Niners make themselves better in the draft?
Yes, unfortunately, they did. I was I really rooting for the Mac Jones pick as a Seahawks fan. I said this, it kind of hit me really a few days later that Kyle Shanahan's the most devastating run game designer in football, and he's done all that without a mobile quarterback, without an extra threat to change the numbers. I am terrified at the concoctions, the nightmarish scenarios. Every linebacker in the league saw that and mentally screamed and is, just wetting themselves at night thinking about what Shanahan and Trey Lance are going to do.
Wetting themselves at night?
I think it said mentally wetting themselves. So,
okay. I didn't know if you could confirm.
A little less graphic,
confirm that or not. The Tim Tebow situation, anybody apoplectic on the NFL Live set there?
I was not. I tried to be very clear about this. No one's angry. Oh, okay. I'm not angry at Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow can pursue whatever dream he wants. I'm still making terrible paintings in the hopes that, that lies down my path at some point. I am angry, not angry, but I'm critical of Urban Meyer. This, to me, reeks of bad management. And we're talking about a guy who the primary concern around Urban Meyer is not whether he can coach football, it's whether he can manage an NFL team. He comes in, he hires a strength coach out of Iowa, Chris Doyle, who was, left town because of accusations of racist behavior. That backfires immediately. And now he pulls this stunt. It just feels like running a college team is like running a mom and pop, right? Whereas running an NFL team is like being a CEO. This feels like mom and pop behavior, and that's what put me off.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. But I don't know. It's one of those where Tebow lives, 3 doors down from Urban. They have so much success together. Like, how does Urban say no to Tim Tebow?
He says, I'm now running an NFL team, and you're 33 years old, and you haven't taken a snap since 2012 when, Mina Kimes had yet to do sports radio. Like, this is not
Well,
tenable.
let's do role playing here. You're Urban.
Ooh. Okay, good.
and I'm
I don't want
Tim.
to be Tebow. Okay.
You want to be Tebow?
No, I want to be Urban. I want to be Urban.
Okay. So,
yeah.
hey, Coach, I'm having a barbecue. I'd love for you to come by, and I wanted to talk to you about something. I'm kind of thinking that not kind of thinking. I want to come and play football. I want to play tight end for you.
Tim, just for the three, you don't have to call me coach anymore. Our relationship is.
You'll always be my coach, and you know that, Coach.
I do know that. I'm just trying to help you. You are incredibly successful. You make $1 bazillion to be an icon to many people. You're on television. You're writing books. You don't want to block for my team that's probably not going to win the AFC South, Tim. You don't want to be mocked because you've never caught a pass before in the NFL or any level, really. I mean, Tim, this is not really what you want. It sounds like you miss being part of a team, so why don't you come on as an assistant? Then you can hang out in the locker room. You can give rousing pregame speeches. I'll give you a jersey.
Wait, Coach, hold my non-alcoholic beer. I'm going to take off my shirt, and I want you to see how jacked I am.
Okay, let me up my offer, Tim. You're not just an assistant. You're the get-back coach. Use those guns to hold me back on the sideline, just like we have in college, just like Sean McVay has with that strength guy. You can be that guy for me, and then you'll get a ton of camera time, too.
But you know that I work out harder than anybody. The game means so much to me. I'm going to give you Tebow time all the time, anytime you want it. I'm going to be there. I can get you tickets to a Mets game. I am going to be there for you, Coach. I will never fail you. And you know that. You know that after that speech that I gave after a loss in college, I was never going to lose again. I'm at a barbecue and I'm ready to run through a wall right now, Coach.
You had me until the Mets game, Tim. Nobody wants to go to a Mets game. Come on.
You're right. All right. Hey, great to talk to you, Mina. And play nice with the guys there on the set.
Always. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Mina. That's Mina Kimes, NFL analyst, senior writer, podcast host, TV contributor. Yeah.